My name is Bisi. This is the story of what happened to me during NYSC camp. Let me start from the beginning. They told us to come to camp by 7 a.m. on a Sunday. So I packed my small box that I've been using since secondary school, packed it full of white shirts and shirts, and got ready to leave our old house in Ibadan. My mommy was crying because I would be gone for a year. But me, I acted like a strong girl. I gave her a hug and went to the park to join the bus. They sent me to Nassarawa State. I didn't know much about the place, but I really didn't worry. It's NYSC, anything can happen. Inside the bus, I was just watching the people. Some were sleeping, others were talking. I was just quiet and listening. That was the first time I saw him. His face was handsome, like someone who eats good food. I didn't talk to him though. I just looked. We got to camp around 6:30 in the evening. The place was noisy. The soldiers were shouting. People were fighting over mattresses, and the sun was still out a little. As I got down, I almost bumped into a soldier, and he yelled at me to move. I held my box tight like there was gold inside. That's how NYC stress started. The next morning around 4:30 a.m., I heard a loud bell. I jumped up from my sleep. My roommate was shouting that it was time for morning parade. I didn't even know where my socks were. I just wore my slippers and followed them to the parade ground. Then the parade started. One man was shouting, but everyone was walking in different directions, and I was laughing. Then the band started playing those fun NYC songs. People were shouting and singing. Some were even dancing at the back like they were in a club. I saw one girl doing some serious leg work at the back. It was fun, and I wasn't sleepy anymore. The boy I saw on the bus was also on the parade ground. He looked at me and smiled a little, but I looked away like I didn't notice. He was acting like a quiet, gentle guy, so I played along. After the parade, they gave us small pap and akara. The akara didn't taste nice at all. So my roommate Zainab and I went to Mami Market to find good food. Mami Market is the only fun place in camp. That's where people charge their phones, buy rice, and hang out with their friends and their lovers. As I was eating fried rice with Zainab, I saw this boy again. He walked to our table and said he saw me at the parade ground and he thought I danced well. I smiled and thanked him. He sat with us and introduced himself as Tunde. Then we started talking. I don't know how, but the way he looked at me made me feel like we had met before. His voice was soft and his laughter was nice. I liked talking to him. From that day, every evening after parade, we would meet at Mami Market. We would drink malt, eat suya, and talk about life. Tunde said he studied engineering. I told him I studied mass comm, and he said I talked like a TV presenter. We started becoming really close friends. One night, after the camp lights went off, everywhere was dark. The soldiers started shouting that everyone should stay in their hostels. But Tunde and I had already planned to sneak out. He wanted to show me a fun place in town. I didn't even know when I said yes. So around 11:30 p.m., we tiptoed to the back of the fence. The fence was a bit high, but Tunde and I already put a stone to help us climb. As I stood on the stone, my legs were shaking. He told me to relax, that he would hold me. I climbed the fence and he helped push me up a little. And that's how I landed on the other side. He climbed over too, and the breeze was so cool. We walked a bit and reached a junction where a taxi was already waiting. We got in. My heart was beating really fast, but he held my hand at the back seat and he made me feel like this wasn't just friendship. We walked down a quiet street until we reached a small suya joint by the road. The man selling suya was cutting meat with a sharp knife, and the smoke from the grill filled the air. Tunde ordered spicy beef suya and 2 bottles of malt. We sat on a wooden bench and started eating. The suya was really hot and peppery and delicious, so I closed my eyes and smiled. Tunde laughed and teased me for loving food too much. I laughed and blamed the suya. After eating, we started walking again. The streets of Nassarawa were quiet and beautiful. Yellow streetlights lined both sides of the road, making everything look golden. We passed small shops, sleeping dogs, and street hawkers packing up their things. As we walked, we told each other stories of our childhoods. Tunde said he used to climb mango trees and fall down all the time. I told him how I once poured Gary inside my brother's shoes because he annoyed me. We laughed so hard our stomachs hurt. Then he held my hand again and it felt warm and nice. No music, no noise, just me and him, and the soft sounds of Nassarawa at night. After a while, we stopped in front of a small but clean hotel. I was a little nervous, but he smiled and said he just wanted us to relax and there was nothing to be scared of. I looked at him for a moment and then I nodded. We walked into the hotel and it was quiet. The man at the front desk gave us a key and we climbed up the stairs. The room had a small clean bed and cool air was coming from the AC. I sat at the edge of the bed while Tunde removed his NYSC cap and placed it on the table. Then he came and sat beside me and we started talking. Our talking turned into laughing and laughing turned into playing. Then we just held hands. That night, nothing happened. We just laid side by side and talked more about our families, our dreams, and how NYSC camp felt like another planet. I told him I was scared camp would be too hard for me. He told me that we should just enjoy life before life starts stressing us. And I couldn't agree more. We both laughed so much I didn't even know when I fell asleep. It was the best sleep I had had since I came to camp. The morning light woke me up. I turned and saw that Tunde was still sleeping and I smiled. Around 4 a.m., we snuck back into camp. We climbed the same fence and landed like little cats. As I entered the hostel, Zainab looked at me with sleepy eyes. I smiled and said nothing, but in my heart, I knew I was already catching feelings. This boy wasn't just any boy. Something about him was special. The last week of camp came fast. The place wasn't noisy anymore. Soldiers were no longer shouting every minute. Everyone had already gotten used to the stress and the wahala of NYSC life. By this time, Tunde and I were deep in love. People had started calling us camp couple. My roommate Zainab always laughed at me because anytime she saw me talking to him, my face would be shining like someone who had just won a lottery. Me, I couldn't even hide the smile anymore. One morning, they gave us our NYSC posting letters. My heart was beating really fast as I stood on the line beside Tunde. I remember holding his hand tightly as we prayed in our minds to be posted to the same place. When I opened my letter, I saw Lafia. That was the capital city of Nassarawa. I was so happy that I almost screamed. Tunde opened his own and smiled as he showed me his letter. He also got posted to Lafia. I jumped and hugged him tight. That joy was real, the kind of joy you feel in your chest. It was so real. That same night, we sat together under one big umbrella at Mami Market, eating jollof rice and fish while loud music played from a speaker nearby. We talked about life after NYSC. Tunde shared his plans. He wanted a small house in Lafia, maybe start a small business or go for his master's degree. I told him that I wanted to work in a radio or TV station and I would support him if he started any business. He looked at me with serious eyes and told me he wanted to marry me. I was shocked. My heart nearly stopped when I heard it. I looked at him to be sure he wasn't joking, but he looked so sure of it. He said he loved me, and I couldn't even answer. I just smiled and looked up at the stars. I felt peace, love, and joy all mixed together. When camp finally ended, we both moved to Lafia. Tunde was lucky. The company that accepted him gave him a nice place to stay, It wasn't big, but it had a clean bed and a small chair and table, and even a kitchen where he could cook noodles and fry eggs. As for me, I had to hustle. I rented a small room apartment far from the town center. Almost all my savings went to paying for the place and buying a small mattress to sleep on. Even though life was getting hard, Tunde and I still loved each other a lot. But things were not the same anymore. Work kept both of us really busy. We didn't get to see each other often like before. Most of our conversations moved to video calls. Sometimes we would talk during lunch break, other times it was at night before bed. We used to say sweet things to each other, promising forever, dreaming of our wedding, and talking about never letting each other go. But slowly, something started changing. Even with all those sweet promises, our distance started feeling like a wall. We were in the same city, but it felt like we were in different worlds. One day, Tunde met a new girl in his office.